Everyone agrees that Mega Knight is a mid-ladder card and that Ice Spirit is not a mid-ladder card. But what makes a card mid-ladder? Today, I want to examine a mid-ladder player to see what is going on in his brain. Mid-ladder is a realm that runs on card levels, not skill. When the playing field is everything but equal, your skill level doesn't matter because the enemy will just play things on the bridge and win matches. But even when it comes to overfueling cards with upgrades, not all cards are made equally. Having splash damage is arguably the most important trait for a mid-ladder card, and the reason is really brilliant. Normally, in an equal playing field, P.E.K.K.A being a single damage heavy attacker makes her weak to swarm cards, and Mega Knight being a splash attacker with moderate damage makes him weak to mini tanks. In a mid-ladder playing field, if you have a level 15 P.E.K.K.A against a level 11 skeleton army, she would still die, therefore your over-leveling did not help as much here. But when it comes to Mega Knight, a level 15 one going against a mini P.E.K.K.A 4 levels below him would actually change the outcome of this interaction, which means your over-leveling was impactful. This would explain why Wizard is usually seen in every single mid-ladder deck, as his splash damage while being over-leveled is almost enough to make him be considered a high DPS unit. But something like a Musketeer, while it would kill giants and other big cards much quicker against a bunch of skeletons, her being level 15 or level 10 doesn't really change anything. Being tanky is another trait for mid-ladder cards. Upgrading an Electro Giant from level 14 to level 15 adds 500 extra HP. The extra HP he gets is very impactful and would allow him to survive 1 to 5 hits depending on what's dealing damage to it. But when you upgrade skeletons from level 14 to level 15, they only get 11 HP. And honestly, think about it. If a prince is charging to my tower and I place skeletons, it wouldn't matter what level they are, as they will be dying in one hit anyway. Now, I'm not saying upgrading skeletons is useless, but over leveling them doesn't create broken interactions. Unless they are subscribed to Abdod, then they become OP. Speed is yet another example of a common trait in mid-ladder cards. The main reason is because fast cards will often catch players off guard. Majority of the times, mid-ladder players will spam cards as soon as they have elixir, so punishing works very well in that area of the game. Let's say your enemy played 3 musketeers without splitting them. Normal mid-ladder dumb stuff. If you play elite barbarians on the bridge, they are more likely to get to the tower as they will reach before the enemy generates enough elixir for other cards. Whereas if you play a P.E.K.K.A on the bridge, she probably won't reach the tower before tomorrow, so they will be able to generate enough elixir to counter it in time. The speed is also helpful because these players have the reflexes of a grandfather. Like, they are so bad at defense that even if they have the elixir, chances are they will still play their cards very late and get their tower damaged. Slower cards aren't favored in mid-ladder because they are less likely to connect, and based on that, they usually swap them for higher speed cards. A giant, for example, would be very easy to drag with a building. You would have until the heat death of the universe to act when you see him. A hog rider, on the other hand, is too quick. It's easy to mess up a building kite that even I sometimes get that wrong because I'm not used to playing cycle decks. Oh yeah, buildings. They use none of those. The concept of a defensive building is very unappealing to them for a few reasons. First off, they suck at positioning buildings to pull win conditions, especially since they change based on what they are trying to pull. For someone that plays a few matches on the toilet, there is no way they will care to learn the different positions for Hog Rider, Giant, and Balloon. And building sizes also change those positions, so we have a combination of a lot of variable possibilities that a casual mid-ladder player won't even think of. You might see them use Inferno Tower because it counters Mega Knight, which is the bane of their existence, but they would usually just play it in a dumb spot like this. And most of them would rather pick Inferno Dragon over a building any day of the week, because they like to focus on attacking more than defending. Mid-ladder players 90% of the time will spend their elixir on attacking towers and will rarely defend. It's not very unlikely to find someone running Royal Giant, Hog Rider, and Balloon in the same deck, which sounds crazy to us, but really normal to them. Like, why defend when you can just spam cards and go for the 3 crowns? And a building literally does nothing on offense, so to them it's a useless card that would be played 1, maybe 2 times per game. You might see a few of them run Mortar in their deck, but that's probably just because they got the evolution from a legendary drop. What's funny is, even if they try to defend, they really suck at it. Don't expect good decisions on defense, and don't expect them to do something like kiting troops to get them in range of both towers, and obviously you should never expect them to do anything even remotely close to this, as they don't have the knowledge nor the reflexes for it. This is mainly why every card in their deck is an expensive card. They just want to be able to drop a card or two to defend an entire push, even if it was less effective, since it would be easier for them. Especially when you compare it to how overwhelming defending with cheap cards can be and how impossible it is to do if you don't memorize every single interaction and deploy timing. Besides, a lot of the time they don't even wait for cards to cross the bridge to have their tower help them on defense, which is why big cards that do well on 1v1 seem to be popular in that hellhole. I feel like the aura of the card itself plays a role in their choice. Like when you are a casual player, you would just pick cards based on how cool they look or play, not how viable they are. For example, when a lone musketeer is coming, you can just counter it for 1 elixir with an ice spirit, but where's the fun in that? Especially when you can just... One last factor is spells use. See, most mid-ladder players suck at aiming spells that they avoid using them entirely, with the exception of 3 spells.
Hey Abdod, could you maybe not use a clip of me?
How did you even get in here, dude?
Everyone's gonna think I suck, man.
Well, you kinda do, you just missed that rocket and...
Don't even finish that sentence, bro. Just use it, whatever, I'm leaving.
Anyway, first one is arrows, and it's mainly for the large radius it has. Normally, with a large radius, it's really hard to miss, so they don't mind it. Besides that, they use it to counter Firecracker and Minion Horde. For some reason, mid-ladder players really hate Firecracker, that even with arrows in their deck, they still complain about it. Not saying I don't hate Firecracker, but I feel like they are taking it a bit too far. And Minion Horde is just a very popular choice which forces people to pick arrows to counter it. Second one is Zap. It's mostly just for resetting Inferno Dragons and Inferno Towers. They really get upset when their Mega Knight gets melted like that. And final one is Log. What's the Log for? Why, of course it is to go E-Bar's prediction log first play for skeleton armies. I know Rage or Zap could be used for that, but honestly they missed those because they suck. Now quick recap, a card is mostly mid-ladder if it has high HP, splash damage, high elixir cost, quick movement speed, is good at 1v1s, doesn't require good positioning for defense, doesn't require tight timing for defense. Does that mean this top player is a mid-ladder player because he's using Mega Knight? Well, no. Using one mid-ladder card in a deck doesn't make it mid-ladder. Mid-ladder players tend to look at cards individually, so to them Lava Hound sucks because it deals low damage. The idea that it works well with other cards like Balloon never crosses their mind. This is exactly why mid-ladder decks are basically just 8 mid-ladder cards thrown together with no thought process behind it. This video was made based on the idea from this dude, so if you want me to make a video about a specific topic, comment down below. We're approaching 10k subs, or maybe it already happened. I have no idea how long the editing will take, but I want to ask you if you have anything in mind to do to celebrate this milestone. Do let me know, I'll see if I can find something cool to do.